Hello! So normally when I set up my tripod and my camera, I hit the record button and I sit down in front of you. I kind of have like some idea of what my video is gonna be about and what my project is gonna look like. This, however, is not one of those videos. A lot of my most recent videos have been kind of intense in terms of like being really project focused and very like process heavy. So for this video, I just kind of want to do the exact opposite of that. So I pulled out my two big bins. This one here is all of my fiber and this one here is kind of just like fiber mix-ins and things. So we're just gonna like dig through these bins, try to see what like colors and textures and fibers are speaking to me in the moment, and just like card them together to make a fun art bat. I'm going into this video with no plans, no expectations, and I just wanna like play with fiber and have a good time. Let's get to it. So the first thing I wanna do is start by just like digging through my main fiber stash just to see what in this moment is sparking joy. So right away on top, I have this really beautiful purple fiber. This is actually from my thesis collection. I dyed a whole bunch of this and didn't end up using all of it. This color is wonderful, so maybe we'll pull this out to start. There's actually quite a lot of fiber in here that's from my thesis collection, which I dyed all these fibers so that they would go together in the same color palette. So I am drawn to them because I spent literally a whole semester working with them and because they were like meant to go together in my brain. So I might pull out a couple of those, like this really beautiful teal, and then also this piece of an art bat that I guess I didn't spin all of it. This has in it a neon red wool and then some blue and turquoise silk noil blended into that. This already is looking pretty fun, but let's keep going. I have this like really rich purple fiber that I love the color of. This is probably one of my all-time favorite colors actually, and I got this during the New Jersey barn crawl a couple years ago. So I'm gonna set this aside because maybe it would be fun to work with. I also have in here a lot of bits and pieces of this like mustard yellow. This is also just like a lovely color that sparks joy, so I'm gonna set that aside. I have quite a lot of it. This right here is from like a little sample pack that I got from a local farm. This actually ties in a lot of the other colors that I was thinking of working with pretty perfectly. So maybe this is the palette we start with. So here's what I'm thinking. I would say like half of this is stuff that I dyed myself. So like this one here, this purple and this teal were all for my thesis project, as well as this like neon red leftover art bat. Then I threw in just like random bits and pieces and scraps that kind of like tied in these colors. This super deep purple, one of my all-time favorite colors, and this like alpaca roving that I have that I'm pretty sure is older than I am. This is something a friend destashed and gave to me. I really like this color story so far. I think this is really fun, and now I'm gonna try to figure out what kind of like that mix-ins I can add to this project. Let's think. I'm immediately seeing this, which could be very fun. This is some dyed red silk noil, also from my thesis. I think that's fun. This is some mulberry silk that I dyed myself. Throw a little bit of that in, and a little bit of yellow silk too. This is a really good starting point. So let me pull out my drum carder, let's get going, and then if I see anything else or if I feel like I need anything else, I'll come back to all of this. For the actual carding itself, I didn't really have a plan at all. All I knew in the moment was that I loved this bright purple fiber and I really wanted it to be the star of this art yarn. So I started by laying down a thin layer of it just to kick things off. Then I added small amounts of the other fibers that I'd pulled from my stash, like this teal wool. For all of these non-purple fibers, I thought it might be more interesting to scatter them in kind of a looser, more random way, rather than just layering them evenly like I did with the purple. So I just took little bits of these fibers and painted them onto the drum carder without too much precision. Even though drum carding can be surprisingly physical and honestly kind of a workout, I still find it to be a really soothing process. There's something so satisfying about holding the fiber in your hands and feeding it into the drum, and then choosing the next piece to layer in. For me, this project was more about the act of making than aiming for any specific result. I just followed what felt good in the moment and let my instincts lead the way. It was really fun to just sit at a table full of all my favorite colors and textures and just play. No pressure, no expectations, just play. Here, I'm adding in the silk noil, which is one of my all-time favorite fibers for art yarns. It's really fun to work with, and it adds a lot of texture and character to the final yarn, so I layered a good amount of that in between all the wool. I also added in some mulberry silk, which is going to add some beautiful shine to the finished yarn. And then once I had a little bit of everything on the drum, I added another thin layer of that beautiful purple over the whole thing. Oh, and of course, I had to add some of that purple Angelina glitter. I didn't want to go overboard, so I just sprinkled in small touches here and there. But looking back, I kind of wish I'd added way more. You can really never have too much sparkle. I just kept layering all these fibers in the exact same pattern. A little bit of purple, a little bit of everything else. A little bit of purple, a little bit of everything else. And I did this until my drum carder could literally not fit any more fiber. The whole time I was working on this, I was trying to think of a name for this yarn or this color palette, but I just could not figure out what it reminded me of. It's kind of sunset-like, or maybe it's also like a viola? My brain also kept thinking of the Disney animated Aladdin movie for some reason. I don't know, what do these colors make you think of? If you have any names or suggestions for this yarn, I would really love to hear them. And then when it was totally packed, I removed the bat from the drum. This step is always a bit challenging for me just because I have a tendency to cram a little bit too much fiber on there and pack it really tightly. And here's how the finished bat turned out. Right now it's definitely looking mostly purple, but there's a lot of color and texture hiding in there that's gonna appear once I start spinning, which is so exciting. Hello again, my bat is all finished and now it's time to turn it into yarn. I managed to cram 5 ounces of fiber into this thing, and it's funny, when I took it off the carder, because everything was so compressed, it was much smaller. Overnight, as I've let it sit, it has just grown and expanded as all the fibers are kind of like, ah. So yeah, this thing is absolutely huge. It is filled with some of my favorite colors and loads of glitter, and I'm really excited to spin it up. So for the actual spinning, I decided that I wanted to core spin this yarn, which basically just means spinning this around another yarn, and I'm gonna be using this purple mohair to do that. So let's do it. I started by tearing the art bat into strips. And then I pre-drafted those strips, which basically just means giving them a gentle tug to loosen them up and make them easier to spin. Next, I attached my purple mohair to the leader yarn and I wrapped it around my hand to create a bit of tension. Then I started spinning, letting the carded fiber gently wrap around the mohair core. This creates a core spun yarn where the mohair acts as a core and the carded fiber spins around it. Since the fiber wraps around the core at an angle, you can really see all the layers and the colors and all the goodness in that bat. Once I'd spun all the fiber into a single ply, I plied it with the same purple mohair. I chose to do a spiral ply, which is basically just letting the core spun yarn twist itself around the mohair. This creates a super textural, dramatic spiral effect that I just love. And here is my skein of finished yarn, and I am actually really happy with how this turned out. It's soft, it's squishy, it's very textural, and it's just in a color palette that I absolutely adore. I'm really excited to have this skein of yarn in my stash because I know this is one of those special skeins that's gonna probably like guide an entire weaving project in the future. So basically when the moment's right, I'm just gonna pull this out again and then pick a bunch of yarns that coordinate and develop a whole project with this as the star, and I'm really looking forward to that. I had so much fun working on this project and I hope you enjoyed tagging along. I know that this isn't really like the normal kind of video that I would make on my channel. This is definitely much more like slow paced, almost like ASMR at times. Definitely let me know in the comments what you thought of this video because I really enjoyed making this and I would love to know like what you thought about it. Should I do more of these in the future? If you want to stick around and see my future adventures and what I'm up to in the world of fiber and textiles, as well as what I might be making with this yarn, definitely hit that subscribe button and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye!